Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into ACIM Lesson 109, and the core lesson for today is simply this: I rest in God. Now, if you've been feeling, totally overwhelmed by just the frantic pace of everything lately, this text offers a really fascinating remedy. We're going to break down exactly what this lesson is telling us and how it literally asks us to reframe our entire relationship with the world.
So it all anchors right here on this one thought: I rest in God. This isn't just like some nice affirmation you stick on your fridge. The text presents this as the ultimate, absolute solution to the overwhelming chaos we deal with every single day. In fact, it tells us this exact thought will bring you the rest, the quiet, the safety, and the happiness you're looking for. It's a massive claim, right? It says this thought actually has the power to wake up a sleeping truth inside you so you can see way beyond the surface of whatever's going on in your life.
Because think about this super relatable paradox we're all stuck in. We're constantly asking for rest and safety, but we're surrounded by danger, sorrow, and what the text beautifully calls the turmoil born of clashing dreams. We're basically hunting for peace in a place that is fundamentally chaotic. But the lesson draws this sharp contrast between that crazy outer turmoil and a really deep, unshaken inner stillness that, and here's the kicker, we can actually choose to access. We essentially have the thought that will answer our own asking.
Now, we need to talk about that phrase, clashing dreams. What does that actually mean here? Well, our everyday anxieties, those intense worries and fears we carry around, the text describes them as mere frantic fantasies. It even goes a step further and calls them dreams of fever. I mean, think about a fever dream. It's totally disorienting, super intense, feels 100% real in the moment, but ultimately, it's just a passing illusion. The text says the turmoil of our daily lives operates the exact same way. Yes, it causes us stress, but we're sure that when we rest, those fearful dreams just pass away. They completely lose their grip. And when you actively choose to lean into this, to rest in God, you are promised a complete shedding of emotional baggage. We're talking no cares, no concerns, zero burdens. No anxiety, no pain, no fear of what's coming tomorrow, and absolutely no past regrets. It is literally a total systems reset for a tired mind. By stepping into this rest, you're intentionally stripping off all those heavy modern burdens weighing you down. You're just stepping right out of the anxiety timeline and into some serious relief.
Which leads to this incredibly uncompromising statement. Listen to this. There is no suffering it cannot heal. There is no problem that it cannot solve. That's huge. The text isn't framing this as a temporary band-aid. It says it's an absolute certainty. If you stay completely undismayed and hold on to this rest, it will carry you through storms, strife, past misery and pain, even past loss and death. So, this rest? It isn't a fragile little escape. It's an impenetrable shield.
And that brings us to this fascinating idea of timelessness. The source says, "This is the day of peace. You rest in God, and while the world is torn by winds of hate, your rest remains completely undisturbed." I absolutely love the imagery there. It acknowledges that, sure, the outside world might literally be tearing itself apart, but this practice puts you in a state of timelessness. Time just goes by without even touching you. Your rest can't be changed in any way at all. You're basically building a fortress of quiet right in the middle of the noise.
So what actually happens when you find that fortress? The text uses this gorgeous poetic metaphor to show the ripple effect of your personal healing. It says, a tired mind is suddenly made glad. A bird with broken wings begins to sing. A stream long dry begins to flow again. When you take the time to rest, the healing doesn't stop with you. Your internal shift literally breathes life back into the dormant, exhausted parts of the world around you.
In fact, it takes it a step further and says, the world is born again each time you rest. Just pause and think about the magnitude of that for a second. Your personal peace isn't some selfish act where you're just withdrawing from society. It's an act of service. When you find your own inner sanctuary, you are silently bringing hope and restored energy to other worn-out minds who are, let's be honest, just too weary to keep going on their own right now. Your rest literally helps awaken the world.
You're actually called upon to draw everyone into this sanctuary, creating this boundless circle of peace. The text says to open the temple doors and let them come from across the world. That means your distant brothers, your closest friends, but it also totally transcends time, including those unborn and those who have already passed by. It's an invitation to bring literally every mind into the holy sanctuary where you rest, realizing that what we give today, we've actually already received.
Okay, so all of this sounds amazing in theory, right? But how do we practically do this? Well, we aren't left hanging.
The text gives us a highly structured application for our day, and it all comes down to the number 5. To hit this state of peace and trigger that massive ripple effect we just talked about, it requires just 5 minutes.
Let's break down the exact method. It's super simple. Step 1, take time every single hour. Step 2, close your eyes. Step 3, sink into stillness. And step 4, slip away from those frantic dreams and into peace. That is it. 5 minutes out of every hour. The text tells us that with each 5 minutes you rest today, the world is nearer to waking. It reassures your mind that those fever dreams have passed and lets you thankfully accept your healing. It's a completely practical discipline of just hitting the pause button on the chaos every single hour.
So the natural question here is, what actually happens to the world when we truly commit these 5 minutes every hour to inner peace? Imagine that collective impact for a second. If you and I and everyone watching routinely slipped away from our frantic fantasies for just 5 minutes an hour to simply be still, the text says worn and tired minds will suddenly find their road seems easy, walking with lightened steps. The energy we'd restore by doing this simple, hourly practice could fundamentally change how we all interact.
As we wrap up this explainer, let's circle back to exactly where we started. I rest in God. Let that core statement from Lesson 109 just echo in your mind right now. Whenever the clashing dreams of the world start getting way too loud today, or you feel that familiar anxiety creeping in, remind yourself of this. It's the key that opens the doors to a quiet sanctuary that is, and always has been, completely available to you.
So here's your main takeaway and your practice for today, straight from the source. 5 minutes every single hour. Close your eyes, sink into stillness, remind yourself that you rest in God, and just let the fever dreams of the world pass away. I highly encourage you to try this structured approach today and see how it shifts your reality. Can 5 minutes an hour really change the world? Well, the text says yes. Listen, if you found some value and a bit of peace in this explainer, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. It really helps us keep bringing you these deep dives to inspire and transform your daily life. Thanks so much for watching, and enjoy your rest today.